Welcome to the Critics Corner. I'm Andrew Branca with the Waxahachie Sun. I'm here with my friend and colleague and fellow movie lover, Mr. Chris Bennett. How are you doing today, Chris?
I'm doing great, Andy. How are you doing?
I'm not doing too bad for myself. Well,
Wonderful.
we are in for a treat today. I'm sure fans of the DC universe will be cheering with joy and expectation with this review. It is on the Justice League Snyder Cut today. It's a 4 hour epic adventure that dives into the DC universe a little bit more and what fans were hoping to get back in 2017. So, if you can let our audience know what this film is about, just take it away from there.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to, Andy. So, one of the first sorry, let me grab the right mug. One of the first things that I noticed, actually, one of the things I want to tell everybody is the journey leading to the quote unquote Schneider cut. What's interesting is that we had the original Justice League in 2017. Apparently, Snyder ended up having a family emergency and asked well-known director Joss Whedon, who, of course, did a couple of the Marvel Avengers movies. He's done Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel, Firefly, Dollhouse, and a host of movies. And so fans did not like the movie that came out in 2017. Joss Whedon was asked to do just a few of the last remaining edits and a few extra scenes for post, and apparently he ended up changing the entire vision of the film. And I'm not knocking Joss Whedon. I don't know what happened behind the scenes. It is a perfect example of why some directors have a vision and others will have a completely different vision. It's fascinating because it's just like any art. I could stand there and look at a painting and say, this is breathtaking. It's the most beautiful thing ever. And the person next to me is going to be looking at a pile of garbage. And that's what I love about movies is that everybody has their own take on it. That said, I'm a huge avid DC lover. I love Batman. I love Superman, Green Lantern. I felt like the Justice League movie that came out in 2017 was a pile of garbage. And I will be honest, the Snyder Cut, it is a completely different film. If you can get past about the first hour of this film, it's pretty much scene for scene what it was in 2017. You'll notice a few little differences here and there. After the first hour, it unfolds into a completely different film, and one that I feel is far superior to the original 2017. And it's because of the fans that this ended up happening. There was a huge petition, hashtag Snyder Cut. There was the big San Diego Comic Con. A fan hired a plane, an airplane, with one of those banner ads that fly behind it that said hashtag Snyder Cut. So that's the power of the fans for you. And Snyder ended up using several million dollars of his own money to get this cut done. You can find it on HBO Max currently. I know it sucks if you have to have a subscription, but it is just a much better film. And I went into it reluctantly. I didn't think I was going to like it better, but I didn't, and so that's where we're at.
What's interesting about this movie is you were saying that this was a fan-driven enterprise. You know, the same thing happened to Josh Whedon when Fox unceremoniously dumped Firefly. They petitioned him to do a movie, which turned out to be Serenity, which was an excellent movie. But to your point, Josh Whedon with original ideas is great. But I'm a big Firefly fan, not so much Buffy and Angel.
I think you can tell I'm a Firefly fan as well.
Oh, definitely. But not so much Buffy or Angel, but but if you put them in a situation where it's more, okay, I need you just to finish this up, or just, bring him on an existing project, he doesn't do that well. And that is definitely the case with this movie. Like you said, I agree. The first hour is pretty much scene for scene with a few minor things changed. But once you get past that first hour, the movie really takes a life of its own and really kind of shapes the narrative in a completely different manner. One example that I like that they put back in is Superman getting to meet Alfred, which I thought that was cool. Where they have this whole scene with Alfred, or they also expand on Batman with the Joker, and you get to see more of that and his type of relationship with the Joker and Jared Leto's performance as that. I thought we really got robbed in a sense of Leto's performance as Joker in a couple of other films where it was like really unnecessary. And a lot of the characters that they had in the movie, they really didn't do anything. Aquaman, for example, from what I've read, this was going to be basically a lead into the Aquaman movie, which I personally kind of liked. But there was a whole scene with William Dafoe as, I believe, Aquaman's dad in there, and that was cool. How can you cut William Dafoe out of a movie? He's a huge A-lister, and just even different things. They took Danny Elfman's soundtrack out of the movie and replaced it with something else that works totally better. The whole vibe of this movie that I believe, and I think you might agree, that Snyder was going for is something a lot more darker. And traditionally, DC, it has always been that dark horse, so to speak. And the vibe I got is just he was kind of hoping to lead this into kind of a tie-in with the Avengers.
Exactly, and that's kind of a hard, when you are faced with a juggernaut like the Avengers in the Marvel universe. You've got a hard road to hoe. It's going to be an uphill battle. So you have two choices. You can either fall in line, follow suit, and say, we're going to do the exact same thing, and have people say, well, you're doing the exact same thing. Or you can try and shift gears and say, you know what, we're going to do something completely different. We're going to take a 180 to what Marvel has done, and do something, in this case, a little darker, and it perhaps maybe slightly grounded in a bit more reality. Let's face it, we're talking about a man dressed like a bat and a god who can fly and use heat vision. How do you ground that in reality? But that's what works so well for the Christian Bale, Christopher Nolan films, was then they did say, what if there were actually a super rich billionaire who wanted to fight crime dressed like a bat? What if that actually existed? And they did a phenomenal job with that. So I think Snyder's trying to kind of follow suit with that pattern. In fact, Christopher Nolan was actually an executive producer with this film. So I get what they're trying to do. It's hard, like I said, to match what Marvel has done. And it's a shame because, like I said, I always have been partial to DC over Marvel. But I'll be first to admit that the Marvel films have been far superior to what has taken place so far with the DCEU. So it's hard to go into a film like this and with high expectations in the first place, because everybody is going to go into it saying, okay, we'll match that. Let's see what you've got, DC, and the pressure's on. So I think that what Snyder did with this cut, the Snyder cut, is as close as it's going to get with being somewhat on par with what Marvel has done. And it's a shame that it's taken this long and that they've had to go through everything they've gone through to get to this point, that it actually took a fan petition to finally see this. Is it a perfect film? No, it is not a perfect film by any stretch of the imagination. Like I said, it is far superior, in my opinion, to the 2017 version. And I expect that the Snyder cut will end up becoming more canon. And I don't want to give really anything else away to the film. There are a lot of Easter eggs, especially in this version, that did not make it into the 2017 version. You mentioned the Joker. Yes, he is in it, and I'm glad, Andy, that you left it at that, because that's anything else will end up kind of spoiling the overall story. So props for noticing that, walking that fine line. There's a lot of cool things. Martian Manhunter was left out of the 2017. He's vital. He's crucial to the Justice League. Why completely cut him out? So that's not a spoiler. Everybody knows that Martian Manhunter is in this version. But again, I'll just leave it at that. Overall very happy.
Yeah, I will say that if this version came out in 2017, I think it personally would have been a game changer. I mean,
I agree.
With the exception of a few films over the years, the original Superman films with Christopher Reeve, the 1989 Batman movie, and the sequel, and then the Batman movies with Christopher Nolan directing, and maybe one or two others. Marvel has really set the pace of what a superhero movie is, but DC has definitely lacked in that component. And it's like you said, it's sad that it took fans to say, hey, we want the movie that we were promised. And it's sad that it took them this long. It like you said, is it perfect? No, it's not. There's parts of it I still don't like. There's parts of it where it definitely looks cheesy because of crappy CGI. But is it a better product than what we got maybe 4 years ago? Yeah, it is. It's a lot better. I would recommend that you maybe watch it in stages, because it is an absolutely long movie. I didn't do that. I sat down and watched it in one setting, and I had to pause it, get up, walk around a little bit.
Oh yeah,
but it's definitely worth a watch.
Atrophy would set in if you tried to watch this all in one setting. And I do want to add one more thing before we wrap it up. I also love how they gave each character their time in the movie. They actually did a very, very good job with introducing each character and diving into each person's backstory. And I think that's why it ended up being a much longer movie, because in each character's own right, they ended up having their own little mini movie within the movie. They have little sections of background with each character and how they got to this point. And I thought that was very well woven into the storyline. So props there as well.
Yeah, and I'll also say, even if you subscribe to HBO Max just for the first month and then cancel it just to see this movie, yeah, that's definitely worth the money to
I agree.
Go ahead and do that. But
it's worth the same as the price of a ticket and some popcorn at a movie theater. So yeah,
no, it's definitely worth it. So it's a good way to spend an evening or two watching this kind of really epic. And there's a lot of good small details that they really paid attention to, notably in the end where there's the huge fight scene with Batman. Just pay attention to that. I'm not going to tell you what it is, not to ruin it, but it's really good. But we've definitely come to the point where we have to give this a rating. I'm going to go first. The original, the 2017 version, 2 out of 10. This, I'd probably give like a 7.5.
I was thinking the exact same thing, Andrew. Well, not 7.5, but I was thinking I would give this movie a 7 on the scale of 1 to 10. And so that gives it a 7.25 average between the two of us.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're kind of on the same par with this. So
yeah.
Well, that's gonna do it for today's edition of the Critics Corner. So if you have any thoughts, suggestions, comments, or just want to chat movies with us, feel free to send us an email or hit it up on Facebook on the Critics Corner Facebook page, and we'll be glad to answer you back and share our thoughts and love of movies with you guys. So well, that's going to do it for today. So y'all take care and have a great rest of your weekend.
Had fun, Andy. Thanks.